Hi friends, it's Chris, and for this video, I'm going to show you how I drew L, the little dog.
So L is this dog that one of my friends own, and we've got so attached to this dog that she became the mascot of my circle of friends. So to begin the process, I am tracing a picture of L using graphite and tracing paper. I will not get into the controversy of tracing and doing art, but it's just part of my process. So I am working on a pad of hot press watercolor paper. This one is actually a block of 100% cotton paper hot press from Baguio. And I'm just transferring my traced outline using a graphite stick and just shading it in. After I have my outlines, I'm now prepping the paper with my pan pastels. Using pan pastels will make my work easier and will serve as my guide to where I will be placing some marks and the direction of the fur of the dog. Then I'm melting the pan pastels with odorless mineral spirits. At the same time, I am priming the entire paper with this OMS as well. This will allow my pencils to actually melt and blend easier. For colored pencils, I will be using my Derwent Lightfast and my Derwent drawing pencil. Particularly, I'll be focusing more on using the Chinese white from the drawing pencils. As for the Derwent Lightfast, I'll be focusing more on their earth tones and some of their reds and yellows, but definitely will be using a lot of the dark colors, including the Mars black, the black, and the Van Dyke brown. So I'm starting with the areas of the face of the dog where I feel a bit more comfortable and more confident at. Well, for this one, I am sure that I know what to do with the nose. So that's where I'm starting with, using the dark colors and then melting them with OMS odorless mineral spirits, as well as blocking in the initial layers for the tongue. Now I'm working and jumping around in different areas so that I can save time. So while waiting for the area that I applied odorless mineral spirits to dry, I work on another area. This allows me to be productive at the same time to make the most out of my time instead of just waiting for the OMS to dry. Now, I feel like at this juncture, I already got my momentum and I am more confident now with how I will be drawing in this dog. Using variations of browns and dark blacks, I am just making pencil marks, layering them one over the other to come up with interesting textures once we melt that down with odorless mineral spirits. One thing that I love with using the Derwent Lightfast is that they act as if they are Derwent Inktense once you touch your solvent onto them. Look at that. Like I barely fixed and layered a lot of pencils, and yet they melt on the paper beautifully. And I think one thing that factored into that is also priming my paper a while ago with that OMS. So I am just working on the different sides now and body parts of the drawing, making sure that I allow time for each section to dry before I go over it with the second and third layers. One advice for those who use odorless mineral spirits is that it's best that you use a Taklon brush instead of natural hair brushes, because this will be functional and instrumental in blending in those pencils. Because it's stiffer, it can push the pigment easier and faster as compared to using the soft hair brushes. So this is where the drawing will look a bit weird, but I'm trusting the process, and yes, at the end it did work out. But while working on this one, I was already second guessing because both the sides for the upper portion of the skull was off because the colors I used were not very similar. As you could see in this side, in the left side, it will look a bit more cooler and darker as compared now to the other side, which is more warm. Plus the fact that there's no continuity with the layers, but again, trust the process. Layer back in the different colors that you used for the snout, and it will follow along. Be patient with filling in those darks, and as well as keeping in mind to keep the light areas light so that you could keep interest. And just like magic, it all turned out okay. And I'm now working on the top portion, and I'm finishing up this drawing. I painted her eyes the last because I want to pay as much attention to the details as I can, and at the same time it would be the crowning glory, I believe, of this drawing. Again, working patiently, working layer by layer, waiting for each layer to dry before I go over it with my next layer of pencils. And now I'm adding the finishing touches to the eyes and also the back portion of Elle's body as well. And just like that, I think I'm done. The drawing took me around 7 hours, so I did compress this one. If you're working slowly, don't be intimidated by time lapses. So yeah, there's that. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day, your week, your month, your year, and of course, peace.